Welcome to the Thinking and Dinking podcast. Here's your host, Isaac Milner and Trevor Price.
Welcome back, you guys. It is episode 6 of Thinking and Dinking. Trevor just dropped this pickleball paddle on the floor. Thank you guys for tuning in to your new favorite podcast. Episode 6, Trevor. We've been going at it for a little less than a month now. It's been fun. How you doing in Arizona?
You know, I'm doing great. Good to hear from you. Got some hot weather down here. Got a lot of high winds.
Yeah.
Not ideal for not ideal for golf, but you know,
not at all.
I'm still alive, kicking it.
Yep. So you've been playing a lot of golf, a lot of pickleball lately?
Yeah, a lot of golf, a lot of early morning golf. You know, the courses just started closing at noon, so got to be waking up early.
Yeah.
Getting some golf in, which you know is always tough that's when you got to be getting your pick in too. So
that's right. You got to choose.
But I've been able to get a decent bit of pick in. I just got my buddy into the game. You know, like a couple days ago. Yeah, so we went to the courts and we, you know, just did some practice, taught him how to dink, you know, stuff like that.
Crucial.
Yeah, and then we were kind of working on a serve just to see if he could get it in.
That's right.
And then the next day, we went to the community center looking for some games. And guess what? We found it. We found two guys in there. It was just us and them. Ed and Jay. Shout out Ed and Jay. We played with them indoor on the multi-surface court, and we got absolutely smoked because it was his second day ever playing. It was his second day ever playing, and you know he's not bad. He's probably better than I was on my second day ever playing. And we just went straight into playing games with these older gentlemen who played a lot, but they were very helpful. You know, teaching them some certain things that basically kind of reinforcing some of the things that I had told them. And they said that they took it easy on him, but they targeted him heavily in the games. And then, you know, we mixed it up. So we kind of switched teammates up a little bit, and, you know, I kind of did my thing, whatever. Dominating the scene.
Your friend just got destroyed the whole day playing against these guys?
It was just, you know, obviously, I'm, you know, hit a little cross-court backhand dink to him, pops it up. What do you think I'm going to do?
Hey, good night.
No, I'm putting that away. Good night. You know what I mean? So,
oh my god,
that happened quite a few times. But it's a fun day. First time playing with indoor balls.
Yeah.
Which is
okay.
Cool.
So it's not
first time playing
or anything.
No, first time playing with an actual game of doubles since you know being back home. It was great.
Yeah,
really fun.
Good.
Did
he have fun?
I'm glad I could get him into the game. Yeah, he said he did. He was able to hit some good shots, you know, just get the paddle out there, deflect the pace, get one in, score a point or two. It was sick.
Good. Well, kind of that's what we'll be talking about today is just some pickle tips all around for players like your friend that are just starting. Maybe you're a little bit more intermediate. You've been playing for a while now and you want to learn a couple different things that you can do to get to the next level. Or maybe you're a 4-5, 5-0 player, you know, who's competing in tournaments and wants to get better that way and just kind of perfect their game a little bit more. That's the question we're going to be answering. How can I get better at pickleball? We'll jump into that a little bit later in the podcast. But yeah, it should be a fun one, Trevor. I'm really excited for this episode. Like we mentioned, it's been a while since our last one. We're about to start work. I resurfaced tennis and pickleball courts as my summer job. So tomorrow I'll be making tennis courts out in Malala, and I believe this coming month we'll be making some brand new pickleball courts as well. Fun. So, all right, let's jump into it, Trevor. We got a Dope or Nope Dope or Nope segment back on the show, like it never left. And then we're gonna end the episode after the pickleball tips by talking about basic pickleball gear. Whether or not you should invest into pickleball gear if you just get into the game, what gear is good, what gear is excessive. Trevor Price has been playing pickleball for less than 2 months, and he's bought more pickleball gear than anybody that I know. So we're going to be picking his brain to see what went into that consumption pattern So yeah, we got a lot on the plate. It's going to be a fun episode. Let's start though, Trevor, by talking about what has happened tonight, what happened this weekend, in the world of sports. So tonight, the Major League Pickleball happened. They had $100,000 awarded to one team. Today, it was BLQK that won it. If you guys don't know what Major League Pickleball is, it's like the NFL of pickleball. So it's the big league for pickleball. Some of the big players aren't in the MLP, but guys, $100,000 was awarded to 4 players today after they won all the kind of competitions this weekend. And I just can't fathom. You go out and play pickleball for 3 days, Trevor, and you make $25K, and you're crowned, winners with your team that has its own owner, its own manager. It's like literally like an official sports league. It's kind of sick.
Yeah, I can't imagine it right now, but I'll be there soon. Sign me up.
All right.
Draft me. You know what I mean?
And with the 40-second, just Trevor. It was cool.
PPL or whatever the heck it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, it was sick, Trevor. I don't know if you saw any of the clips, but these guys are like hitting in between the leg shots. They're like all these highlight-worthy clips. Drew Brees, former quarterback for the Saints, was there watching. Just it was all rowdy. Everyone's getting into it. Crowd is loud. It looked like an awesome atmosphere there.
Yeah, the points that I saw, I watched one of the games like live on my phone on YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
but the clips that I was seeing from this was insane. Like crazier shots than you normally see on it. Like when you're normally watching a tournament, you might see a good rally every once in a while, but it's like defenses, like sick game-winning earnings. Like it had it all this weekend. And $25K for some pick. Come on, per player.
Sounds like the life. Yeah, we'll support you, Trevor, when you make it there. Don't forget about us. Don't forget about our listeners, guys. We got listeners all over the globe, Trevor. I don't know if you saw it, but we got some boys and gals out in Finland and Mexico and Germany. We got the whole gang over there. Appreciate you guys supporting the podcast. It's our 6th episode. We're still kind of figuring out, the way of the ropes. We're online, so we can't, have the best quality in the world, but we're going to make it work. Let's keep it going. So normally on the podcast, if you're familiar with the show, we like to save our Dope or Nope segment that we do with Trevor for later. But we're going to jump into it a little bit earlier today. If you guys don't know what Dope or Nope is, I basically asked Trevor a series of questions, situations, events, people, and I asked Trevor if that thing is dope or nope. And it's always interesting to see and pick Trevor's mind and kind of see, what he thinks about this stuff. So, Trevor, if you're ready for it, let's dive right in.
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Number 1 on Dope or Nope, Trevor, is a situation. It is a sunny day out in Arizona, and you are ready to go play some pickleball. You head to the courts, but you only have a group of you and 2 other people. So not a 4-people group. So you can only play with 3 people. A pickleball threesome, if you will. Is that dope or nope, Trevor? Give me your thoughts on that.
Oh man, 3 people, can't get an actual game in.
No.
So I guess there's the con side of it, but I'm gonna go dope because that's when you get your most work in. When we were in school, you, me, and Diego, we head out to the courts. I mean, there's not a 4th there most of the time. We obviously had a hard time bringing a consistent 4th to the courts with us. And so that's where, I feel like we got most of our work done. That's where, we put the work in. That's where we got better. And, we kept it competitive. We got some dinks in. We learned a lot. And we had some fun. Dope, for sure.
Okay. Good take there. It can be the most valuable practice. You can be creative. You can do so many drills with 3 people. Guys, if you're in that situation where you have a group of maybe 2 other guys, 2 other girls, and you're looking for drills to do, there's a ton of different drills you guys can do. You can do dinking battles with targets, switch sides, utilize all aspects of the court. You can do 2-on-1s using only half the court for the singles. You can work volleys with each other. There's a ton of things you can do. if you only have 3 people. But, you don't get that actual game experience in. So it kind of just depends on what you're looking kind of to do. So it's a good take there. Dope, you said, Trevor?
Yeah, what do you expect? Good take from me? Come on. Don't act so surprised.
Okay. You're right. That's my bad. Number 2 on Dope or Nope. Again, guys, these aren't going to be in any order or related to anything in specific. So, number 2 on Dope or Nope, crossbreeding dogs. What do you think about that?
Dope. All dogs are dope, honestly. At least
so?
for the most part, I love dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Dope.
Yeah, it's cool. You got like a lab, you mix it with another type of dog, you get a new dog. I think the number one. It's facts. What do you get there?
You get a Labradoodle.
Nice.
Epic dog.
Yeah. Good job. Yeah, they're kind of cool. Good answer there. Dope on crossbreeding dogs. Number 3, Trevor, dope or nope? Identical twins. Give me your thoughts on that.
Identical twins. Honestly, I don't have a lot of experience with identical twins.
Not a twin?
No, I myself am not a twin.
Okay.
But the few that I have run into,
mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't really have an opinion on them, so I'm gonna go dope. Don't speak on something you don't know about, really. Dope.
It's facts. That's a really good saying. That is applicable to many aspects of life. But, they're just a little bit confusing. You know what I'm saying? Like, who am I talking to? Right? I believe we have sisters that are identical twins at our school. Is that right?
Yeah, my boy Gmo is dating one of them. Shout out Gmo.
That's right. Yeah. Shout out Gmo. Yeah, one of them's in my art class, and, I just don't know which one it is. So, it adds an aspect of, mystery. So, that could be a plus, it could be a minus.
I'm going to go dope until identical twins give me a reason to go nope. And as of right now, they haven't. So, it's a dope.
That is just such a good take, Trevor. I really appreciate that. Yeah. All right, dope on identical twins. Number 4, Trevor, dope or nope, walking past someone you know. In the hall, outside, far away.
See, this is a tough one because it really depends on how well you know them. Is it your homie? Is it your friend that you're walking by? You see him, you get excited. You're like, yo, it's Isaac. And then, I start screaming, hey, Isaac. Whatever. Doing a little dance, running, maybe even. It depends on how excited I am, obviously. Or is it just like, it's, so-and-so, and I don't want to talk to them right now.
Call people out. Who are you talking about?
Oh, nobody in particular. Come on. But, it's just like one of them days you don't really want to talk. You put your head down and you might take the scenic route. You might make a turn before you ever get there. And because you just don't want to talk to them. You might just simply turn around because you don't want to talk to them.
Recalculate?
So I'm just going to go, fair. It depends on the situation. If it's your friend, I'm going to go dope. If it's not your friend, but you still know them, we all have those people.
Oh, yeah.
Nope. It's a nope. It's awkward. Puts you in a weird situation.
Okay. All right. So kind of a mixed answer there, but I'll accept it. It's always an interesting scenario. You see someone but you're like so far away, and then you just got to think like, do I want to acknowledge them now or wait, keep my head down, and then all of a sudden, lift up and hey. So I'm glad I got to hear your opinion on that. Next up on Dope or Nope, Trevor, middle names. Dope or Nope?
Middle names?
Middle names. What's your middle name?
Gotta be dope. It's gotta be dope. My middle name is George. And, I thought for a while last year, school year, I'm a freshman, right? Moving to Oregon. I could totally reinvent myself. I could go by George. If I really wanted to, I could have went by George. And, I thought about it. But at the end of the day, I stuck with Trevor. It's a decent name. But middle names for sure, dope.
Good. I'm glad you did stick with that. They're cool. Just another layer of, personalizing yourself, making yourself unique.
Yeah.
Except for me, a lot of people. That's right. A lot of people have the middle name James. So, it's one of those basic middle names. But, I might start calling myself George as well. just walking
I
around.
was gonna say, James, it's no George, but it'll get the job done.
It's true. It's true.
It'll do.
It'll get the job done. It's a safety net. So, all
Yeah.
right. Number 6, last thing, an item on Dope or Nope, Trevor. Having a required class to take in college that is outside of your major. So at Linfield, for you guys that don't know, you're required to take what's called an LC. So it's a Linfield curriculum. It's basically a bunch of classes that help make you a more complete student. But yeah, what's your opinion on that? Do you find value in that, or do you think it's kind of a waste of time? I mean, how much are you paying a year to go to this college? Me personally, I don't want to be paying for stupid classes that I really don't want to take. Give me your thoughts on it, though.
See, it seems stupid at the time, especially if you take one that you really hate. But the whole thinking of it is you're going to become a more well-rounded individual at the end of the day. At the end of all your years at school, you're going to know a lot more. And who knows, maybe it could redirect your career path. I wasn't, or I was smart enough not to take a 300 level art class for my, LC. I took some things that I actually enjoyed, took some history classes, like a normal person. I don't know, 300 level art class. I don't know what made you look at that and decide to sign up for that, but
it may have been a misclick. Yeah, maybe that was just ruining it for me. But that's a good take, Trevor. So you're trying to find value in all the little things.
I'm gonna say dope.
Okay, respectable. That is the Dope or Nope from today's episode 6, guys. You'll be listening to this Monday morning when we post it. We hope you guys enjoy and have a great start to your week. Trevor, let's jump into kind of the bulk of this podcast, guys. We have gotten together and we've kind of laid out a bunch of different pickleball tips for a bunch of different scenarios depending on where you are as a pickleball player, meaning kind of what level you are. Did you just start? Have you been playing for a little while? You're ready to take your game to the next level, or kind of you're at that 4-5, 5-0 level. You're competing in tournaments, trying to figure out kind of what are those type of players working on to improve their game. And I think it's a good way of looking at it like this. It's also important to think about, okay, I'm playing pickleball. Why am I playing pickleball? Am I playing pickleball to have fun? Or am I playing pickleball to be super competitive and try to push myself and make it a primary focus in my life? I think those are pretty big distinctions because I know a lot of people, especially around me, my family, my friends, that are really just, they like playing it a lot with their friends. They like just going out there and playing. They're not so interested in how competitive pickleball can get. But I think it will be pretty valuable to hear Trevor's opinion on kind of what it was like being a beginner in pickleball. What were some of the things that you worked on that helped you get out of that phase and start going into that intermediate level? So we'll start there, Trevor. Beginners up to 3-0. What are you working on getting right into the game?
As a former 3-0, or maybe, even potentially still in the 3-0 category, you're working on basically learning the ins and outs of the game, like learning the rules pretty much, and just kind of the basic strategies. You want to know where to be on the court, really, so you can perform to the best of your ability. Like, honestly, just having that knowledge without even having any of the skill, without even ever have practicing it, if you can know where to be, it already puts you at an advantage and gives you the opportunity to hit a shot that, if you're in the wrong place, you wouldn't be able to hit. So it just makes it more fun if you know where you're supposed to be and you know where you're supposed to hit the ball.
Yeah. A lot of people that just jump into the game of pickleball, they're looking to have fun. And I think some keys for optimizing that experience and making it the most fun for you are learning kind of a couple basic things. Trevor talked about one of them. It's positioning. And pickleball, the general principle is you want to be the team that's at the net. You never want to find yourself caught in the middle of that transition zone or staying at the back when there's a chance to get to the net. Because in kind of a big perspective, being at the net is the most advantageous offensive position to be in. When you're up there, the second thing you want to be thinking about is I'm going to keep the ball low and force my opponents to hit the ball up. At pickleball, you have that kitchen zone that you have to stay outside of. So when you're keeping the ball low, you can't come in any further to get a put away. But if you're keeping the ball low enough, your opponent will have the tendency to lift it up, especially at the lower levels. And that is when pickleball becomes a lot of fun. Because if you understand keeping the ball low, you'll be better than a lot of beginners, and you'll get a lot of balls in the air that you can put away. Trevor, I know, was that a pretty easy concept for you to learn? And what are some of the ways that you learned how to do that?
Yeah, I just remember, one of our first times playing, you just said, basically the goal is to get up to the net and to keep your opponent away from the net. And I think, obviously when you just said that, I just did it. I didn't really think about it. But if you kind of think about what you get by being at the net, it's honestly a lot less court to defend. You only have to defend right there, like the kitchen, the ball that bounces. I mean, you can get lobbed, but if you're playing 3-0, the only time that's happening is on accident. You basically make the court smaller for your opponent. And if you're up and you can keep your opponent back, you have more room to hit shots too, and not allow them to get to the net. So I think that just that positioning, it makes it easier to play defense. It takes away court from your opponent and it gives you better chances to score.
Yeah.
It's more fun.
That's right. The other thing I'll say at the beginner level, this is super basic concept, but it's important to understand. A lot of times when I'm teaching people how to play pickleball for the first time, they are really hyper-focused on things that don't matter as much. For example, people trying to get themselves the best serve, like a day into pickleball. Trying to perfect things like that don't actually have that much of an impact on the game, I think is a really bad waste of energy. So what I would recommend if you're just getting into the sport, I think you should be focusing on how to minimize your errors, and just get yourself into the rallies. Pickleball is super fun where you can go back and forth with the guys across the net. Then balls go crazy. You have this highlight play and you remember it and you want to come back the next day. If you're making simple errors on your serve, on your return, things that you're just trying to make too perfect at the beginning level, I think that cleaning some of those errors up will be super helpful for you guys.
Yeah, I think
Trevor, I know.
One of the things that I learned early on is, like you said, kind of don't try and get too cute with certain shots. Make your opponent hit another shot, basically. So instead of hit high percentage shots, just get it back over the net and make them be the ones to mess up. Don't try and do something crazy. Don't try and win the point right away. Get in a longer rally and just wait it out and get it over the net. Make them hit the next shot. And if you get beat that way, you get beat. If somebody hits a great shot, tell them great shot and try again. But consistency, just hit the shot you can hit, get it over, and make them mess up.
Yeah. And again, it just depends on, if you're playing it for fun, the things that we just talked about will help you have more fun out there. If you can control the ball, you can keep it low, you give yourself a chance and you're in the right position, you're going to win a lot more points. You're going to have a lot more fun. Obviously, this is for doubles, but kind of the same things applies to singles as well. And singles, your kind of key objectives are hit as much depth as you can, keep your opponent back. You want to come up to the net, be in the right position, and then don't make errors. But if you do all those things, I think you'll have a good experience in pickleball, and you'll find out all of the hype behind pickleball and why it is such a fun sport, fastest growing sport in the nation, Trevor. So that is kind of the framework for the 3-0. Let's move, so that's like 3-0, 3-5 even. As you move from 3-5 to 4-0, what you're learning a little bit more is kind of your third shot, how to mix it up, incorporate pace. And incorporate and change pace. So what I mean by that is, in pickleball, one of the hardest shots to get really good at is the third shot. So if I'm on a team with Trevor and we serve, the return comes back. Those returners want to come up to the net, as we talked about, to get the best core position that they can. So now they're both at the net, and me and Trevor are back. Now one of us has to hit that third shot. And what we do with that third shot basically dictates the point, especially at the lower levels. It can end the point very quickly. For example, if Trevor gets the third shot and it's a forehand shot for him and he lifts it up too high, and they can easily put it away with the overhead. So the idea behind a third shot is to hit a non-attackable shot that bounces into the kitchen, giving you guys enough time to get to the net and establish court positioning.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be a drop like you just described, but I mean, you can hit a drive. The one thing about that too is, yeah, obviously a really bad shot against the high level opponent is probably going to get put away, but you kind of want to miss. You want to miss high when it comes to the third shot, because if you're missing low, then you just cost yourself that point. If you get it over, you at least have a chance to play defense. That's kind of one thing I've learned. Like I've been missing, or like back when we were in school getting ready for the tournaments, I was missing a lot of thirds into the net. Like I would try and drive one, and it just goes right into the net, and it's really frustrating. But even if you hit kind of a higher drive that goes long, the other team still has the opportunity to make a bad decision and hit it when they should have let it go. You just give yourself a chance that way. But the third shot is definitely one of the toughest parts that I'm still working on right now.
Yeah. And Trevor, you're probably around 3.5. I'd say you're a solid 3.5 player. And what we've been working on most with Trevor has been building confidence in his third shot. And then if you're not the partner that's hitting the third shot, you're trusting that your partner is going to get you in a good position and you're closing in on that net while he's hitting that third shot. What that does is it applies pressure to your opponent. It puts you in a better spot to receive that fifth shot. So there's a lot of strategy behind the third shot. I highly recommend, if you're a 3-0, 3-5, you're wanting to improve your game, and you haven't established a good feel and touch for getting that ball to drop in the kitchen, or practice driving that ball at your opponent on the third, I think that's really important to drill a lot. And you can do that a lot of ways. You have one person stand at the net. If you just have two guys, you have Trevor stand at the net, I stand at the back. He's working on hitting his volleys deep, keeping me back, and I'm working on just kind of dropping that ball in the kitchen. I'm mixing in a drive every once in a while. But I think that's a pretty effective drill to work on. And if you can get a third shot and you got quick hands and you get up there, you're going to win a lot of points, especially at that 3-0, 3-5, 4-0 level.
A good third shot is pretty key, especially against higher level players, because it just gives you that chance to get up to the net, so they can't keep you back.
Yeah.
A good third gives you that opportunity.
Yeah, if you're at the levels that we'll talk about later, you don't miss third shots. You can't. You never see the pros miss third shots. It's a way of getting in the point that's becomes second nature to you. The longer and the more you play pickleball, it makes the point a lot easier. You don't have to be on edge, knowing that your ball's going to get smacked down if you can just hit a nice controlled shot in there. All right, so we got the third shot. Another thing that you'll see people above the 3-5 level do is start mixing up changing pace. So deflecting pace, not always banging it out. The 3-0, we call them bangers. 3-0, 3-5 is a really fast pace. So when you're coming up to that 4-0, 4-5 level, being able to dink the ball, wait for the right moment to speed it up. You're not speeding up balls that are way out. You're all reaching out. Your feet aren't set. So being smart about when you're changing the pace is definitely a 4-0 kind of 4-5 skill that'll really help set your team up. Yeah,
just being able to be patient and dink and not have to speed it up right away and not have to bang. That's just like what you see in a 4-0 as opposed to 3-5, even 3-0, like 3-0, 3-5 even. They just want to bang it out basically, and that's one way to do it, I guess, but at the higher level, you're going to get beat because the higher level players will bang it out better than you.
Yeah.
So you got to be patient. You got to dink. You got to set up. You got to set up a forehand in the middle, man. You got to get that shot to put away, and you don't do that by speed ups and just banging right away.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's interesting because I've watched a lot of people that when I started playing pickleball, there's a lot of people that started with me who started at that 3-5 level, especially where I grew up. Started at that 3-5 level, banging it out, kind of having points like that, and they are still doing that to this day. And I think that's kind of one of the pitfalls of it working one time and staying with it and never adapting and learning the stuff that we're talking about, because I see so many people just be bangers once and be bangers always and never want to slow it down, learn how to dink, learn how to set up points the hard way. But really, that will keep you at that level. If you want to get better and get out of there, you have to learn to change the pace. You got to be quick with your hands, but you have to be able to establish patience and be the person that will out-dink the other team. The other thing I'll say about kind of that level, the intermediate level, is developing more knowledge for the sport. So if you're looking to improve your game, you're going to be trying to seek out different ways to do that. And, one of that might be listening to this podcast. There's a ton of information online for helpful drills that you can do to just sit there and kind of practice the stuff we're talking about, but also watching the pros, watching what that higher level looks like and trying to implement some of that stuff into your game. And we'll talk about that here as we get into the advanced players, 4, 5, and higher. But Trevor, I'd say you're in that range right now. What's kind of the stuff that you're working on? Obviously, you're in Arizona, but what can you say to these guys that are going through this as well?
Well, it's kind of like, even though like we're kind of talking about like for a 3-5 or for a 3-0, we're kind of breaking down the type of game that you play. It's important to practice the skills of where you want to get. You know what I mean? So like, while I'm a 3-5 player, I'm still practicing the skills of like dropping, like we were saying, and dinking. Even still, like I would say I'm pretty good at it, but I can always get better. And just realizing that you need to practice those higher level skills in order to progress, and not just like you could be practicing your positioning and your serving. You could get up to the net, but what to do when you get up to the net, don't just bang it out. Practice getting to that next level. Practice that next level skill of dinking. And that's kind of what I'm doing right now. I was never really too much of a banger because you kind of told me early on about dinking, but I mean, just that I'm still just trying to get better at all those little things and the consistency.
Yeah, building consistency. I think a good drill, it might be brutal, but what me and Trevor do to finish out all of our sessions when we train, when I was teaching them for a couple tournaments that we did last month, we would sit there after a long kind of session and we would lock it in and work on some repetition drills. We'd do 100 dinks back and forth, Trevor on one side of the net, me on the other, and just getting it right over the net 100 times back and forth to each other, hitting forehands, hitting backhands, until we got 100 in a row. And it took us a while. Trevor, I know after a long day, a long practice, it gets tiring. But if you are going to be able to get 100 in a row, especially at the 3-5-4-0 level, you will be the more patient player, and they will be the one to speed it up first. And if you're ready for that, you'll be advantageous and in an offensive position more often than not. Yeah. So I highly recommend that drill. 100 in a row, it's a lot, but yeah, I think it's a good drill. Let's move on now to the advanced players. So if you're at that level and you want to get a little bit better, you got to look at what the advanced players are doing. So this is 4-5 plus. I consider myself probably a 5-0 singles player and a 4-5 doubles player. And the one thing that is holding me back in doubles is my dinking. Believe it or not, I think I have a good dink, but you get out there, and if you can't sit there in a cross-court dink battle with some of the best players for 20, 30, 40 shots in a row, and hit a backhand dink cross-court perfect, this shows you what you need to work on. Let's look at what makes a 4-5 player a 4-5 player. At this level and higher, you have developed quick hands. That's the first thing. You're able to sit there, and whenever the ball is sped up, you're able to either reset or counterpunch that ball. That's a really hard thing to do, and that's why the top and the best players are able to do it efficiently and repetitively. And the way to drill that is just by doing a lot of volley work with your partner, doing a lot of dink drills where the one person is attacking and one person is kind of counterpunching or blocking, and mixing in that kind of drills. But having quick hands is crucial. You watch any of the guys on tour, the kind of gets that they get is it's ridiculous. And it's definitely a higher level skill. The next one that you'll see players at this level doing, just consistency, being patient in those dink rallies like we talked about, and always playing people that are better than them. If you're at the 4-5 level and you're still playing around with 4-0s, 3-5s, and not challenging yourself, it's one of those things that you don't really do. If you want to keep progressing and you want to play at the higher levels, you got to play people that are better than you. Trevor, I know it applies to 3-5s and 3-0s as well. Trevor is playing a lot of people that are better than him. I mean, at the beginning you didn't really like that, but it's crucial.
Yeah, but I think that's how you improve in general, and that's how you improve faster. Like, if I wasn't playing with you, you know what I mean? I wouldn't even know what dinking was because that's not what I would see. So playing with the higher level shows you kind of where you need to get, what you need to expect when you do eventually get there. It just kind of gets you ready for that next level.
A 4-5 player on offense is aggressive to their targets. When I was doing that dinking drill with Wes, he set out cones within the kitchen, and our goal was to hit to different cones at different spots. We'd go games to 5 and just try to hit that cone, protecting the cone, knowing when to take it out of the air, how to take it out of the air offensively, and cones are a great way to do that. You can very specifically see a target, see how you're doing. You can feel it off the paddle and see where that's going in real time. And I highly recommend getting some cones out there and really practicing your dinks. The key thing to focus on with the dinking and being offensive is to switch up your targets. So if you're dinking cross court, you're not just dinking cross court. You can aim to both of their. If you aim to each of their feet, you're going to get a different response. So if I'm dinking cross court to Trevor, and I pull him way out wide, that's up to his right foot, he's going to give me a different ball than if I hit to his left foot inside. If I hit to his left foot, he's going to have a backhand where he's kind of sliding backwards. So knowing what ball you're going to get off of your opponent, trying to make them feel uncomfortable, is a way to be kind of neutrally offensive. And it's something that you'll see the best players in the world are specific with those targets, and they're always trying to make their opponent extremely uncomfortable. On defense, the top players in the world are comfortable and controlled in the transition zone. What the transition zone is from the baseline to the kitchen line, all of that area in between. If you are comfortable kind of in that zone, and you can be able to drop the ball in the kitchen or counterattack, that will make you one of the best players, and you'll be able to handle pace and kind of be one of those top players a lot easier as well. And like I talked about, countering. So if someone's aggressive to you and you're able to counter back, that's one of the best things to work on as well. So just seeing a ball that's really fast and surprising your opponent with a counterattack, that's something that the best players are doing. Hopefully you guys found something of value. If you have any more questions or you want to get some actual drills from us, email us or text us on our Instagram at Thinking and Dinking. We'll give you some nice drills that you can work on. It's been fun to kind of coach Trevor through those, and I'm sure he's got a lot of insight too. All right, let's sum it up. Let's go into our pickleball gear. I mentioned it earlier. Trevor Price, he's been playing pickleball for 2 months. He spent more money on pickleball gear than I've seen anyone ever spend money on. Trevor, you always got to have the best gear, and we're going to talk about what should you buy if you're just getting into pickleball. What is necessary, what isn't, what is some good gear, what's not, what balls should I get, Trevor, bags, shoes, sweatpants, what is necessary for me to optimize my pickleball experience?
All right, you asking me right now?
Hit me, Trevor. I want to hear what you've done and what you recommend, because those might be very different.
First of all, I started out with this paddle that Isaac gave me, Selkirk demo paddle. I don't even know. What is this? Clunky. Whatever. It's clunky. And I was playing in my tennis shoes. So, sign up for a tournament. I'm kind of getting into it. What's the first thing I need to do? I can't be playing in tennis shoes. I got a paddle already. I can't be playing in tennis shoes. So what do? I go and get some babbies. Come on. The best players in the world wear the babbies. And not only are they good at pickle shoes, they're Suns colors. So I think getting a stylish pair of shoes that's comfortable and is stable and has the court bottoms, court
Mm-hmm.
surface. That can elevate your game, make you more agile, make you quicker even. You know, what's
Okay.
what's better? Faster to the ball, you know.
Is that
You know,
true?
I've seen improvement in my game just by putting on the shoes. You instantly become a little bit better. You become a little faster. You become a little quicker. You know,
It's
you're
turned
able to
into a
stop on a
Babylon
dime, get to
ad
balls you
real
wouldn't normally get
quick.
to. Okay, okay. Anyway, so next time, you know, you saw this paddle. Where is this?
Yeah.
Right here. What is that? You know, let's get
Yeah.
that out of here. The next thing I did, went and got myself a new paddle, a Babolat paddle. At that, I don't
Yeah.
know if you can see that right there.
Oh, we
Come on.
see that.
One of the best brands in the biz. You know, I got the touch paddle because I'm,
Mm-hmm.
you know, a dinker at heart. I love to dink. You know, that's just my game. Got the
Oh.
texture on her. Get a lot of spin. That's one thing I noticed too with those indoor balls I was telling you about playing indoors.
Uh-huh.
The spin off of this thing is actually insane without even trying. Effortless spin versus that Selkirk, you know, demo paddle. The ball just kind of slides right off there. You know, you
Yeah.
can still hit good shots with it. Don't get me wrong,
Mhm.
but it's
Yeah.
easier to hit good shots when you have good equipment.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to
Okay.
say there. So that's kind of what I'm getting into, obviously, and then you know, quite possibly the most important piece of equipment that you can get is a wristband. Come on, it's just stylish. It's stylish. It makes you feel
Oh man.
legit.
Yeah.
It makes you
Yeah.
feel like you deserve to be on the court. And you know,
Okay.
what did Deion Sanders always say? You look good, you play good, they pay good. That's all I gotta say when it comes to equipment.
Okay. So when it comes to pickleball equipment, style, appearance, and the quality matters for you, Trevor?
Yeah, of course. You know, and you know, when it comes to quality, I feel like just saying the word Babolat, you know, that just sums it up right there. I don't even need to go into the quality. You guys should have known right
Oh
away
man.
when I said Babolat. It's a quality product.
Okay, well, Trevor, you gotta understand, in the pickleball world, Babolat is extremely uncommon, especially on tour.
Yeah,
You talked to a lot of people. A lot of people don't like Babolat. They think the quality of Babolat is actually very, very not durable. But it's been great for you. I use Babolat. The durability is not the best on the market by any means, but it is a very comfortable, soft, and a little bit lower on the pricing than the top pickleball paddles from other companies. A company like Selkirk, Trevor, Selkirk offers some very, very low line paddles that you can get into, which I highly recommend if you're new to the game. But you know they have expensive paddles as well. They have a paddle that's over $300, Trevor.
you know, I'm not gonna say that Selkirk is bad, obviously, because like that one, I can't judge my experience based off that one paddle, and you know, that's the
Yeah,
paddle that got me into the game. You
yeah,
know, that's where I learned how to dink, how to do all that stuff. So it's a
yeah.
good
It's your
company.
babe.
Obviously, Tyson McGuffin uses it. Come on, it's got to be good, right? So I feel like it's less about Babolat's the best. That's just what, you know, I'm kind of familiar with, I guess you could
Mm-hmm.
say. I just kind of
Mm-hmm.
lean towards it. I'm not saying it's necessarily better than any other company, but I'm saying
Mm-hmm.
for the people that are out there saying that it's not good, you better think
Yeah.
again because I could definitely beat you with the Babolat battle.
All right. All right. Easy there. All right. So here's what I would say. You're new to pickleball. You're thinking, what do I get? A lot of people go online. They go to Amazon. They type in pickleball set, and what pops up are some very cheap and unreliable paddles for like $40, with like a couple Onyx indoor balls. And if you're in it just for fun and all you want to do is dink around, Trevor's giving a thumbs down. If all you want to do is just dink around and you really don't care about the quality and kind of like actually like feeling how good pickleball can be, that's completely fine by any means. But I do not recommend that as a player. I don't like playing with crap products. If you're gonna get started, Babolat has a couple lower models as well, that are like 60, $80 that are still really good quality for paddles. Their most expensive is 140, but they have a ton of good options underneath that. And balls, personally, I love the outdoor balls. I hate playing with how slow the indoor balls are. So that's kind of my 2 cents on it. What about you, Trevor? Just in a nutshell,
I
what are
mean,
the do's and don'ts?
I kind of think when you're playing outdoors, obviously you want to use an outdoor
Yeah.
ball, right? But when you're playing indoor, I don't know how much of a difference it makes, but the one
Yeah.
thing I noticed, I was nervous playing indoor for the first time, that the
Mm-hmm.
ball is going to react differently off the ground because
Mm-hmm.
it's a different surface, and I think that that's kind of like what the indoor balls are meant to do.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I didn't notice a difference of how the indoor balls bounced off of the
Yeah.
tile floor when I know that when we were digging around in the basement of the house,
Mm-hmm.
the outdoor ball, it kind of reacts a little differently, but an indoor ball is
Yeah.
meant for that, so it reacts more true to like
Yeah.
what you'd see an outdoor ball do on an outdoor court. So it
Yeah.
depends, but most of the time you're going to be playing outdoors, so
Mm-hmm.
obviously go for an outdoor ball.
Use the right ball for the right surface. Balls are not that important, really. It's more the paddles. Shoes, Trevor, I know you are in love with your
Oh,
Babolat's.
wait.
Go ahead.
Wait. Balls are important though, because the one thing that kind of you taught me is not just any old ball will do. You want a
That's right.
ball that says 40 on it, right? 40 holes, that's what that stands for.
Yeah, that's right.
Let me
Yep.
see if I got any in here.
Trevor's doing a what's in the bag
So
pickleball edition right now.
here's a Durafast 40. I believe Onyx makes this ball, and
Yeah.
this is the only 40 that they
Mm-hmm.
have in the Big Five where I live. But
Yeah.
I notice it's all the balls that have 40 holes in them like are pretty similar. So like
Uh-huh.
if you're gonna play in a tournament, even if you use, a Franklin X40, which is gonna be a little slower than a ball like this, it's really all about the same. But
Mm-hmm.
if you like get a ball with fewer holes, bigger holes even, it just honestly it kind of feels like you're using a wiffle ball,
Yeah.
and it's just not the same. So I would
Mm-hmm.
recommend getting the high quality ball
Yeah.
that has 40 holes in it. It makes a
Yeah.
difference.
Dura is a good brand for balls. They make a Dura 40 and they make a Core. The Core holds up a little bit better than the Duras do. The Dura 40s break a lot, especially in the mornings if you're playing outside and it's cold. They tend to break really quickly. So the Dura Core is always a great ball to play with. The Franklin 40 is a good ball as well, but it's particularly slow. So at higher levels when you're playing singles, playing fast-paced doubles, it's not the most fun to play with. The Dura 40 is, I think, the most fun to play with in my opinion. But yeah, I'd say if you're getting into the game, find a lower level paddle from a brand that's very well known and trusted in the pickleball community. We obviously are talking about Selkirk and Babolat, but there's so many different good companies out there. Do some research and get a paddle that you can get for a long period of time.
Yeah, I think ask someone who, might have a better idea than you.
Mm-hmm.
Ask us even, shoot us a
Yeah,
DM. I'm sure one
yeah,
of us will be able to answer the question, but ask the person at the store, read the
yeah,
reviews. Don't just kind of go in blind and buy the first one that pops up.
yeah. So get a good paddle that you trust. Get some balls. Go out there. Don't really invest if you're just getting into the game. You don't need a bag. You don't need fancy shoes unless you're Trevor. You do need a
Unless you
wristband.
want
You
to
heard
look,
it.
unless you want to look the coolest, you
Appearance is
need kind of all
everything.
those things. But if you're just going out there to mess around with your friends and you don't really
Yeah,
care if you look cool or not,
yeah.
whatever.
One of the best things about pickleball, guys, is how easy it is to get into, how easy it is to learn, and how cheap it is compared to a lot of other sports. Trevor plays the most expensive sport in a lot of people's minds and the cheapest sport. Golf,
Yeah.
pickleball. I think there's a lot of value in how convenient and how cheap and accessible pickleball is. So try to make it, cheap, but also, make sure you're getting the right products that'll help you progress the fastest.
Yeah, because I
That.
mean, something might seem expensive, but you buy it
Yeah.
one time and then it doesn't cost you any more to use it. Going to the courts
Hmm.
most of the time. It depends on
Hmm.
what kind of situation you're in. You might have to pay a couple bucks to use the court, but most courts are at a public park where you can go enjoy them for free. So
Yeah.
you pay for your own equipment that will hopefully last you a long time, and then that's it.
Yeah.
You don't have to pay
Yep.
anymore. Like when I golf, you have to pay to golf. You have to pay to
Hmm.
practice. And
Yep.
so in pickleball, it's almost a little bit more worth it to buy something that, is high quality and will last you. That way you don't
Yeah.
have to worry about it for a long time.
Yeah. Yep. Do it once. Do it right. Don't do it on Amazon. I think we should get that out of the way. you're getting into the sport of pickleball, stay away from Amazon. Find some reputable brands that have good reviews.
What's that website that you use? Total Pickleball? I've looked on there a couple times. That's pretty good.
Pickleball.
They do like video reviews of paddles and stuff. It's really insightful.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. Check out Total Pickleball. I believe there's a couple others like that. But yeah, look online. Find the right stuff for you. Pickleball is a lot more fun when you find the right stuff. And it lasts a long time. It's one of the cheapest sports. One of the best sports, guys. I hope if you're new to pickleball and you watch this today, you learn kind of some basic things to kind of get you on your feet and make pickleball more fun. Because at the end of the day, I think that's why a lot of people play the sport. It's to have fun with your friends. It's to get out there, learn something new, be a part of a community that is so inclusive, so fast growing. I mean, this community just gets bigger and bigger. It's so much fun to play and go out and just play a pickup game of pickleball in your community. So yeah, I hope you found this episode valuable for you. You get going on the right foot. If you are an intermediate player and you're advanced or higher, I hope some of these tips were helpful as well. Obviously, nothing we say is true and trident just because we have our own podcast. I mean, it should boost our credibility a little bit, but yeah, this is just what works for us. I'm a 4.550 player. This is what works for me. My dad, Mark Milner, he's a senior pro. I've learned a lot of stuff from him. I've talked to Wes Gabrielson. I've learned a lot from him as well. So you'll hear it in the community. A lot of people teach the same thing, and hopefully you found some of this valuable. Trevor, I think that will wrap it up for today. A bit of a longer podcast. A lot of good information, though. If you found something interesting, you want to share it with someone that's new to pickleball, please feel free to do so. You can find us on Instagram at Thinking and Dinking, on Twitter with the same handle as well. You can always reach out to us if you have any questions or kind of want to pick our brain on anything. If you're enjoying the podcast so far, we appreciate you. If you stuck around, we appreciate you. You can always feel free to give us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Helps us know kind of what direction to take the podcast in the future. And that will pretty much conclude it, Trevor. Appreciate you sitting down talking to you. It's always fun. Obviously, you're pretty far away now, but it's good to catch up. Good to talk some pickle.
Yeah, good to hear from you. Good to keep me involved in the sport. If we didn't do this, who knows what would happen? Pickle might slowly fade into the background of golf, but I don't think that's gonna happen.
No, keep it going. Keep it going, guys. As the weather gets better, get out there on the courts with the right gear. Get some helpful things in your mind and go out and have fun with your friends, with your family. Trevor, busy week of work for me. Look to get back on the podcast soon. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Thinking and Dinking, and we will see you in the next one.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Thinking and Dinking podcast.